Good morning. Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. I have the pleasure this morning of hanging out with people I've been hanging out with all month. The Follies creative team. Andy Cier, Terry Moffitt, Josh Mann. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm so excited you guys are here because you guys are the brains behind the show and been writing for years and just funny and creative. Although Josh, you're a little bit newer on the team, but doing an amazing job. Let's talk about the Follies writing process. Whoever wants to go first. I mean, Terry, why don't you start for us?
You know, we start meeting at my house usually in the summer, and we meet first at Tom Clyde's, have a wrap up, what worked, what didn't work, what should we change, not that we ever follow whatever we decide. And then we just start with a grain of an idea and build on it, and will that work? And then everybody has input, and you know, it is a process, and we've been pretty lucky that by the time April comes, the theme we came up with usually resonates with the town. But everyone's got something to say, everyone's got ideas for songs, for videos. It's a great team effort.
Right. So people that haven't seen the Follies, what they maybe they don't know is it's all about Park City. It's Park City isms. It's all a volunteer Park City cast. The creative team is all Park City locals that have been writing for years, and it involves not just acting in an entire plot and a story, but videos and music. Which Terry, you write all the music, and you guys the videos get funnier and funnier every year. So it's a whole show that really encompasses what Park City went through for the year, and usually a topic that really resonates with what's happening in Park City.
True. And these two this year really have the best videos I've ever seen. I mean, every time they come, I'm like, oh, yay! I mean, they're unbelievable. The quality is unbelievable. I mean, even little things like the one you did at the opening video where there's a dollar and the pyramid winks and a guy skis down the side.
I know.
It's like a second and a half, but it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
it also starts and opens with skulls, though, which isn't your typical Follies, humor.
Yeah,
so,
true.
There's kind of a dark angle on this one.
I think this year's a little darker than usual. It's a little, it's affordable housing. I think it's real. I think it hits home and impacts so many people, and it's just one of those things where, I think we went into it a little bit scared because we're like, what is the reaction going to be from people? Because maybe it's going to hit a little too close to home. But I think it's been received fairly well, and we get the laughs, so that's good.
Yeah, I had a lady on Sunday night show. We often wait out on the sidewalk, and afterwards she came up to me and said, "What you were saying is true, but I'm laughing, but I'm sad, but I'm laughing." So it was a little dark, but it didn't have a happy ending really, because it can't.
Right.
So what are you gonna do?
Right. But you guys, what we kind of laugh about too is we've talked about this a little bit about how people are receiving this year's Follies. And one thing people are forgetting, we're talking about 10 years, it's not that far, I'm not talking 100 years, but 10 years in the future, like what's going to happen to Park City with the housing being so difficult. So it is more of like a future of what could happen if workforce housing continues to be a difficult issue. But you're so good at making it funny. Talk about how you guys bang things around in your creative meetings when you're trying to you're always funny, you're just funny people by nature. But when you're trying to put that out there, what is the process like for you guys?
Well, I think we've talked about doing something into the future for a while, and there's been a couple shows in the past, right, that projected in the future. Maybe was Mayan calendar or not? Was that?
Yeah, that one a little bit. That might be the only one. Went back and then a little forward.
We did one video a couple years ago where we projected into the future where dogs take over Park City.
Oh, yes.
And it was like Planet of the Apes, except it was Planet of the Dogs.
Right.
And so, and then this year we had talked about, how do we take something that we see is happening and go 10 years in the future and then look back at it. And I think actually Josh came up with the idea for the Hunger Games, or I don't know, but it was this idea of, let's go into the future and see this is one possible path if we keep going the way we're going. And then we just start throwing things on top of that. It's amazingly collaborative.
Yeah.
In fact, here's one of our great collaborators right now.
This is Josh's little guy. He's in one of the videos, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for joining us this morning.
I think one thing, and you could probably relate to this, is you got 6 people in a room around a table with ideas, and sometimes it's hard to get a word in edgewise. So for a while I have a pepper mill that you had to hold a pepper mill, and that meant you had the floor. I try and take notes so that we have some great ideas that you know, some of them get lost.
yeah.
Some of them,
Sure.
you wonder if anybody heard you. You wonder if yours gets in. I mean, we could always do better at making sure that the end result is the best it could be. You know, you don't want someone's voice to be louder than somebody else's, but
Yeah.
we try.
And let's talk about a little bit, because you guys write these things and you have a vision, and then suddenly you pass out the characters to the cast. And it becomes, everyone takes it and adds their own flavor to it and becomes a whole nother project almost. Not because we're sticking to the script, but it comes to life. And can you talk about how fun it is for you to go from a script, words on paper, to seeing the cast on stage?
Well, the cast just makes it come to life. I think we write it, and you know, Tom Clyde does the majority of writing of the actual script, and he'll say it every year. He goes, I put it on paper, but it becomes so much better once the cast gets their hands on it. And I mean, there's probably 100 different things within, you know, this year's Follies where you're like, wow, you made that so much better just because of the way you deliver the line. Or there's a Hootie and the Blowfish song where you know, they've added a lot of character to it, and it's just, you know, I don't think we could ever dream or come up with the things that the cast add to it. So I think we're really fortunate to have such talented people to I guess, execute on it and make the show
Sure.
really great.
For sure. Well, and you go like from this to a suit and back to this when you do your character. And that is true, what Josh said. I mean, all of a sudden people come in full costume. John Burdick, who is, you know, he's got, what's he doing? Is he painting that on?
Well,
He's
no,
mustache?
it's his actual real. He's grown it out for the show.
That's
So
commitment.
he's
I mean,
got a
God.
full beard that he's grown out to look like a character from the Hunger Games, actually. So he's a great actor.
Yeah. And it's his 18th year or something.
Yeah.
He's been in
Yeah,
it a
I
long
think he's
time.
been in every one, right? Is he and Spong are the only ones, maybe?
Yeah, a long time.
No, well, and you know, and you, I mean, it's just great. You bring tenderness. It's great. It's fun to sit in the back and go, wow, that is funny. And like the coach who's saying a line is funny. And
Well, and the actors do. I mean, they bring so much. Like, at the point where we start the show, we've all seen the script 1,000 times, and then we're, you know, it's like, is this really funny anymore? I don't know. I can't remember if this was funny 6 months ago. And then the actors get it, and they do things with it, and you're like, wow. I mean, like, you have a nice little scene where you do a little muscle grab that's very funny. That's obviously not in the script, but it's very funny.
a muscle grab and an adjustment.
Yes.
And we laugh every
But you just
night
have this
at that.
great look, and it's hilarious.
So I just want to thank you guys for being the team behind the scenes, for making an amazing show every year for people. I've heard people say this is one of the funniest years they've ever seen. So you guys get better and better, clearly. And it's a sold-out show, but people can still call in. There's a waiting list, but call in on the evenings you want to go, and if you can find a ticket, please come see it. 'Cause
I agree.
It's
You know,
fantastic.
last night there were 4 seats in front of me. And I don't know if people just couldn't come. I'm hoping they call the Egyptian and say, hey, we can't make it.
Right.
I think if you want to see it, there could be a way.
There could be a way.
And there's plenty of parking. You know, that's the
That's
thing.
right.
So there's plenty of parking. That garage is empty
Wide
for
open.
whatever
That's
reason. So.
Because they've changed our behavior.
That's
what they
right.
wanted to do.
That's exactly right. All right, so we know that the show ends on Sunday. You guys are going to start meeting again and sort of talking about things
will
come this
start back
Wednesday.
up.
So good luck with next year's. Thank you so much for this year's. We're excited to do the rest. We have 6 more shows.
5.
5 more shows.
5 more.
Thank you.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Yes.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Park City Follies, Housing Games, 2018. Thank you, creative team. Andy, Terry, Josh, I
Thanks,
can't reach
Shannon.
all you guys, but thank you so much for coming in this morning
Our
and telling us
pleasure.
how it works, because it's so much fun every year. Don't go anywhere. We have a lot more to come on the Mountain Morning Show.